Hello, everyone. Welcome to the DMV Business Show. I'm your host, Otto Sevilla, and today our special guest is Sonia Mundra. She is the president of Chenega Analytic Business Solutions. Welcome to the show, Sonia. Thank you for joining.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yes, thanks again. So as I mentioned offline, I like to start off from the very beginning. Are you from around the DMV area?
So I've been living in Northern Virginia and DC for the last 20 years. So originally I'm from Southern Delaware, and then came here to this area, to DC, to go to college. And so I've definitely been around this area for a long time now.
So you were born in Southern Delaware?
Yes.
Okay, grew up there, did high school and everything?
Yep.
How was it?
And then I came here when I was 18. Yeah.
Where in Delaware?
Seaford.
Seaford.
Seaford, Delaware. Yeah.
Okay. How was growing up in Seaford, Delaware?
Oh, wow. Growing up in the 80s in Southern Delaware, it was different. It was definitely less diverse than it is today. But, my family's been there so long. People were good. Yeah. I mean, I think once they got to know us, it was good. No major issues.
Sure.
Yeah.
What were you into growing up? Did you have any interest that you can remember?
Yeah, so I played tennis athletically, so for my high school and everything like that. So that's something that took up a lot of my time was ladies tennis in high school and whatnot. I don't know, gosh, you're making me think way back, like Spanish club and like all that stuff. So yeah.
Oh, that's good. Were you fluent in Spanish? Are you?
I wouldn't say I'm fluent, but I know enough to get by. Yeah, it's come in
Okay.
handy. And then, worst come to worst now, there's always Google Translate. So
Oh yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Okay, so you were into tennis, and then you said you came to the DC area due to college?
Yes.
Okay. Where did you end up attending here?
Yeah, so I attended Georgetown
Okay.
and at the McDonough School of Business. So I have an undergrad degree in business administration, and my concentration was finance.
Where were you before going to Georgetown? Did you have an idea already what you wanted to major in, or did you sort of have to find yourself there and what you wanted?
No, I pretty much knew that I wanted to do something business related, finance related. Didn't know a ton about it, but got into it there in Georgetown. I mean, they were one of the few programs that did kind of like the MBA, but they did it as a BBA. So they did it for undergrad because usually to get that kind of training, you've got to get an MBA. But they were kind of a front runner in that program, and that's part of the reason I was so interested in them. So I kind of got an MBA, but I got it, as a bachelor's. So yeah, I loved all the courses that I took. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed finance. I did internships at NASDAQ and Credit Suisse in New York, and then graduated. And then afterwards, I did end up getting a master's degree in accounting from George Washington from GW.
Okay. Were you thinking back then, Sonia, sort of going the Wall Street route, or what were you thinking?
I definitely could have done that. I really enjoyed my internship with Credit Suisse, but ended up staying in this area and working in client financial management at Accenture, the consulting firm. So when I graduated, it was, there was a big recession going on. So New York was not, quite recovered from that. So ended up staying in this area. And I think we're pretty much here. I mean, it's going to be pretty hard to leave now.
Yeah. This was when you mentioned graduating, is this undergrad or master's that you were referring to?
Yeah, so I graduated undergrad from Georgetown and then master's from GW. So I did that partially while I was working at Accenture, and then partially full-time for about a year.
Okay. And you said at Accenture you were doing something with finance or financial related?
Yeah, we were managing a portfolio of government contracts. I managed a $50 million portfolio of government contracts for what was known as our diamond client. And a diamond client at Accenture back in the day was defined as a client where you had $100 million of revenue a year. So Verizon was our client, and then I later moved to the TSA account. So I got a really good background there doing what I enjoy, which is finance for both commercial and for government customers.
Okay. How long were you there for?
4 years.
Okay. And
Yeah, and then
then,
I left to go back to school full time to get my
okay.
master's. And then after I graduated with my master's, I worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers for a year in tax services, and I got
Okay.
my CPA while I was working there.
Okay. All big major companies. Anything that comes to mind, Sonia, that you learn working, whether at PWC or at Accenture?
Yeah, so it's a great place to cut your teeth. It and honestly learn best practices. I learned a lot about communication with executives and just over communicating. I learned how to pick up the phone. If there's an issue and you're going back and forth on email, always pick up the phone and just really how to work well. I worked with a lot of senior executives at a really young age. So I learned to kind of manage that personality, and then also, understand how to connect with them and how to on a professional level and how to deliver to them like little nuances of how to support people who are at that level and demand a lot and have a lot on their minds and really need good support.
Sure, sure. So you went to PWC and you were there for a while, or?
I was there for a year, yeah, and then I
Okay.
left after my husband and I had our first child. I left the workforce.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
And then you eventually came back later,
Yes.
or? Okay.
Well, yeah. So when I went back to decided to start working again, I went to Chanega. I actually was at Chanega, and I have my 7 year anniversary with Chanega on March 4th.
Oh, it's coming up.
It's coming
Okay.
up. Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what made you decide to go with them? Because this is totally different than what you were doing before.
Yeah, I liked so Chenega, even though it's interesting because it's a bunch of small businesses that are wholly owned, but we are wholly owned by a large business, our parent company. But this was kind of my first small business that I worked at, and I got to be honest with you, I love it a lot. Versus, I don't know that I could go back to being at a large business. Although our company is growing quite a bit. I always like to kind of beat my chest and say, we're a small business, we're a small business. And I thought about it the other day and it's like, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to say that, which is a good thing,
Yes.
obviously. But yeah, no, I enjoy doing a lot of different things because I feel like when you're at a large business, you kind of, you're in your role and then, you get really specialized, which is it's a great thing. But for my personality, I like every day to be different. So when you're at a small business, especially a rapidly growing business, you get opportunities to like do different things. So for example, when I started at Chanega, I mean that's Chanega, my career at Chanega is a perfect testament to that because when I started there, I was a company controller with one of the small businesses, the small subsidiaries there. And frankly, because I got to grow with the business and they're a small business, so they need all hands on deck. And so I, was willing to help out and I was rewarded accordingly by, eventually working as an operations manager, director of operations, and then ultimately with starting up a new subsidiary, which we started up 3 years ago, all under the parent corporation of Chanega. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, I know people get promoted within large businesses and they can transfer, but I think that kind of environment, of all hands on deck and whatnot, that really kind of led to a lot of opportunities for me. So yeah, I've been at I was talking to my boss this morning actually on Teams, And I said, I've been here 7 years. I feel like I've had 1,000 different jobs within Chenega. So it allowed me to kind of stay at the same organization, but also do a ton of different things and get a lot of like exposure and a lot of diversity within my career. So I'm super grateful for that.
You learn so much, like you said, since you're all hands on deck and you're doing all sorts of things. You're not just, as you mentioned, starting off as a controller, but you were doing a lot of other activities as well.
Yeah, I was given a lot of opportunities. I mean, I worked hard, but I was also given a lot of opportunities. And so there wasn't like a specific quote unquote track. I kind of, you show up and you're there. And, like I said, the company sponsored me to get my PMP. So I got that. While I was at Chanega I think, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. And that helped me kind of transition from going into just like managing financials to managing the full operations of a company. So,
Sonia, for those who may not know, can you briefly explain what is Chenega, what do they do, and all the different products and services?
absolutely. So Chenega is super unique. They are a Alaska Native corporation. And what that means is that we are 100% owned by our private shareholders, which is the Chenega tribe of Alaska. Chanega is a village that's about 2 hours south of Anchorage. I actually was super blessed. I had the opportunity to go visit the village last summer, and I'm so glad that I did it because of COVID and everything else. There's tons of travel restrictions now. And it was a really, I look at it as an opportunity of a lifetime to be able to go there. I don't mean to be over the top, but it really was for me. It really was a transformational experience for me to be able to actually go up there and see and meet with the people, the board and the village. Our board is entirely native Chenegan. Our CEO is native Chenegan. So it was an incredible opportunity to talk to our CEO, talk with our board, meet the villagers, see the village. And what's interesting, I'll give you a fun fact. They have a beautiful Russian Orthodox style church with all the art and the ornamentation, and it was absolutely breathtaking. So like I said, it was a super transformational experience for me. And so that's kind of the background about the Chanega tribe.
I'm sorry, Sonia, was that your first time in Alaska?
It was so it was my second time. I went
Okay.
when I was a child on a cruise, but
Okay.
yeah, as an adult, it was definitely my first time in Alaska, and it was long overdue. I mean, they've been telling me you got to go, and it's tough. It's tough to, because if you're gonna go, you're taking out a certain amount of time,
Yeah.
right? And especially like in the summer, and the summer is our busy time in government contracting as a small business, so it's hard to make it a priority sometimes. But it was absolutely so much fun. And I got to meet also with our corporate office, people that work in our corporate office up there. So that was wonderful to actually put a face with a name.
Sure.
So Chenega Corporation has been in business since the 1970s, and we've been doing business with the federal government since 1998 under what's called our Strategic Business Unit, which is Military Intelligence and Operations Support. We are headquartered in Lorton, Virginia, and under our Military Intelligence and Operations Support Business Unit, we call ourselves MIOS. We have, I think, like 22, 21, something like that, little wholly owned, some of them are quite large actually, but wholly owned, what we call subsidiaries or sister companies. And so each of them are kind of operating in different parts of the federal government. And then the company that I run is SBA 8A certified. It's called Chenega Analytic Business Solutions. So it's we're in year 2 of the 8A program, and so what we provide is training, administrative, mission support, IT, cyber, intelligence, logistics, to our federal government customers. So we're a through and through government contractor.
Okay. Wow. And you said you've been with this for 2-3 years for this with this company?
Yeah, so I started out with a sister company, and so I was a company controller. Then I worked as an operations manager and a customer relationship manager and a PM. That's why I say I've been there 7 years, but I've had 1,000 jobs. That company was super successful. I mean, when I started there, they only had two contracts, right? So, and that was part of the thing too. Like I had an opportunity to grow with the company as the company grew. So it wasn't like super overwhelming for me, when I first started out there. So I always say, as a newer company that's just starting out, it's easier to hire people that maybe have less experience so they can grow with the company. It's a great opportunity. Worked as a director of operations, managing a lot of work, and that company is through and through now has graduated from the 8A program, and they're a large business. And then 3 years ago, I was appointed as president and general manager of this new company. And I like to say, it's my baby, it's my third child. And it's called Chenega Analytic Business Solutions. So we started with zero, have been growing, made the application for 8A. We're now 8A certified. So we are building our capabilities every day. We've been incredibly blessed. It's been a wonderful journey.
You mentioned earlier about the tremendous growth you guys are having. So you started a few years back. Do you remember what it was back then, and what does your team look like now?
Well, back then it was me starting at zero. I'm pleased to tell you, the company has, we are private, so I can't give too much financial information,
Sure.
but I'll flex a little bit and tell you that our company is well over $100 million in sales and backlog. Just partially, a lot of it has to do with the Chanega Myos brand. A lot of it is customer relationships that, I worked even back in the day when I was a PM, marketing, engaging with, with industry, and engaging with partners, great strategic partners, and also, directly engaging and trying to develop long-term relationships with the government. I'm very kind of fussy when it comes to that. I like to engage early with the government, because sometimes I'll talk to the government and they'll be like, well, we don't have anything. I'm like, I'm not asking you for anything. I just want to get to know you. This is the first time we're talking. So I like to approach the relationship from a more long-term perspective. And I'll tell you, a lot of the stuff that we have gotten, and it's funny, I was just talking with somebody about this morning. A lot of the stuff that we've gotten, we initially went in for a different requirement and we were not chosen. We were not chosen for whatever reason, right? But apparently we put on a professional, we gave a professional presentation. They were impressed with us. And so they picked us, they ended up selecting us for engaging with us again and selecting us for a different requirement. So that's why I always tell the government, I'm always happy to engage. If we want to get picked, but if we don't get picked, we still enjoy the opportunity to engage, because we learn from it as a small business. Like all the feedback that I get from the government, whether it's positive or negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
From the government, that allows me to tweak things, iterate, and improve. And that's always our goal as a small business, to improve.
That's fantastic growth from zero to almost over 100 mil a year.
We're super blessed. It's all the federal government, and again, we have good capabilities, and I have a lot of personal past performance. So we intend to grow more. So that's why I say, I always like to beat my chest and talk about how we're a small business, and God willing, in a couple of years, I won't be able to flex like that anymore.
You mentioned something just now, Sonia, which it came to my attention. You mentioned about establishing relationships. You would call people and they're like, no, there's nothing, there's no RFP or whatever it is. And you're like, I'm just trying to get to know you.
Yeah.
Is that not normal for them? Or I love that part, that it's all about the relationship. And I'm sure that matters a lot too, when it comes down to it.
Yeah, I think that there's some contractors that are out there, especially there's some 8A contractors, because like our busy season like I said, is in the summer, and there's a lot of expiring requirements that have to be put on contract. 8A is a super quick and easy way to get on contract. And, apparently I've been told that there are contractors that will call in July, August, will cold call and say, hey, we're 8A, do you have anything for us? Like first, cold call, right? And so I think there must be a lot of 8A contractors that do that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be told that.
Sure.
So that is definitely not something that we aspire to do.
Yeah. Did you learn that from somewhere, as far as just building that rapport and relationship before any business even gets conducted, if at all? Or is that just you naturally?
I just don't like it when people do that to me. So that was kind of, that naturally kind of makes me feel very averse. And then also, you take your cadence from the government, right? So if you think about the government's posture is to, reduce its risk. And the way that they reduce their risk is to develop a relationship with you, right? So, it's risky if you think about, you just met somebody and you're just going to give them again, like I said, if somebody wants to give me something on the first time we meet, I'm okay with it, but that should be their choice. I just, that's like, that's kind of like, when you do that, that's kind of like saying, you go have a coffee with somebody and you're like, okay, well, are we getting married now? It's like, whoa. So yeah, you've got to, and I tell people too, because a lot of people work in commercial, and I've worked in both. I've worked in government and commercial. Government has a really long sales cycle, and that's by design, because their job is to be the steward of taxpayer money and to reduce operational programmatic risk, right? So it's pretty risky to get married on the first date, I think, maybe.
No, it definitely is. I've seen that a lot of people just try to go for the close on the first date. Like you said, we need to get to know each other better. Let's go on the second date, the third date, and so on.
Yeah, that is typical in commercial. That might happen more in a commercial world, but the typical commercial sales pitch does not go well at all when you're selling to the federal government. It's okay to be more aggressive, I think, in commercial sales. Government, doesn't particularly care for extreme aggressive-ness. So.
Do you have a preference as far as whether commercial or the government side you prefer to work with?
Yeah, I like both. I do like both. There's certainly less red tape in the commercial side. However, commercial engagements are usually much shorter. So the profit margins are typically higher in the commercial world. It's okay to take your client out to dinner and drinks in the commercial world. In the government world, that is an absolute no-no. So, but it's kind of nice too, because they're already restricted from doing that, so I don't have to do that. So I think there's pros and cons, but I know that in commercial, the contracts are typically shorter. Government has longer contracts, but have a little bit less, probably, I'm sure, in general, at less profit margin. But I think that makes sense, right? Because if you're giving somebody a longer contract and you have more backlog, the profit should be lower. So.
What would you say drives you and motivates you today, Sonia?
Well, I'm here to support my customers' missions. So we want to be deeply embedded with our customers. We want to understand their challenges. We want to understand kind of the missions and the dynamics of everything that we face. And we want to be a partner. And that's why I say we're not here. I want to be kind of hand in hand and really feel their pain, right? So that's what motivates me. I think that growing a small business and the team of people that I work with, growing them and training them, that motivates me, and that makes me feel good to see them excel and grow in their careers. That motivates me. And I would say as a mother, my children motivate me. Because if I'm going to go to work and be away from them, I really want it to be something meaningful and worthwhile.
I love that. Yeah, you were mentioning team just now, and I know how important it is having the right team and the team members there. How do you go about recruiting? Where do you find them? How do you do all that?
Well, we have an incredible recruiting team here at Chenega, and they do a lot of engagement. We have a marketing team as well. So I'm really pleased to tell you that we actually won the 2020 Best Places to Work, 2020 and 2019 Best Places to Work from the Washington Post. And that is not an award you can buy. That is an award that is given, I'm just being honest, that's an award that's given based solely on employee surveys.
Oh,
So yeah, so I'm super proud of that, of winning that award. That Chenega Mayos has won that award 2 years in a row. We won other awards in terms of like employing military spouses. We're very military friendly, prior military friendly, military spouse friendly. So we do a lot of like engagements at like military type events where we're trying to recruit people. So our recruiters are always out and about engaging in that way, to kind of put our brand out there, that we're a great place to work. So that helps a lot. But you're right, there is a major war on talent right now. And, if you go to our Glassdoor profile, you can see that, everything's really positive and we monitor it and we respond, so when people give suggestions, we definitely take them very seriously and we like to look into it.
congratulations on all those awards. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it definitely helps, right? When we're recruiting too, it kind of goes hand in hand. So
Especially when it comes, like you mentioned, the post one, when it comes from the employee, the team themselves. That's great. I'm curious now with COVID and, remotely, how are you dealing with that internally with you and your team? How has that affected the
So
organization?
yeah, so we've done a lot of things. So we have a COVID crisis committee, which is basically was formed, around like last February or March, whenever this started going down. And so they meet regularly and we figure out kind of a methodical way to respond to any questions. Like right now, like people are asking questions about the vaccine and things like that. So just kind of getting out ahead. And so making sure that we deliver a standardized message as Chenega Mayos SBU. In that rather than, just like a PM being like, oh, I don't know, because, sometimes employees ask questions and you get caught off guard and you kind of fly by the seat of your pants. So and we're doing that. We're doing a lot of email communication. We're doing a lot of social media contests on Instagram to try to keep everybody engaged. And our Lorton office, actually, our posture has always, our office has never shut down. So
Okay.
our posture has been voluntary telework. And I like that because I'm the type of person that I like to go into the office sometimes, working from home, like even today, like on the snow day, like, I was like,
Are you in the office today?
no,
Oh,
not
okay.
today,
Okay.
not today. But I was like, today would have been a good day. I mean, our office is shut down now because of the snow,
Sure.
but I was like, God, it's so gray outside. It's so nasty. Like I need a change of pace kind of thing. So I like that because, some people don't like working from home. So everybody has the option to come into our office and work from home, but it's like I said, it's voluntary telework because I know like I myself have kids, other people have kids are out, kids are in school, etc. So it's whatever everybody feels comfortable in.
Sure.
However, when people do go into the office to work, we do have mandatory masking, mandatory social distancing, temperature checks, and everything like that. Like I said, we've approached it. Our unit, Myos, has approached it in a really methodical way, and I think that really gives a lot of comfort to our employees. I mean, they want to know that we're listening, we're paying attention. And we also have if people do get or exposed, we have a standardized process for, the quarantine. And then in order to return to work, they're required to, either quarantine for a certain amount of time or they need to show testing. I actually recently was exposed. I ended up not having it, but I was exposed. So I followed the process and I actually tested and was told, okay, you can come back to the office now. So.
It sounds like you personally like to attend and go into the office on a regular basis, right?
I do. This whole thing has been a huge struggle for me, honestly, because this whole COVID thing, because I'm a face-to-face person. So I have personally struggled with the virtual.
Okay.
I'm getting more used to it. But like I said, Chanega has Teams. So we can set up like video calls like this where, I like to see people's body language when I'm talking. Otherwise I wonder, like, I always wonder, like, when I'm on the phone, like, are they listening? Are they distracted? Are they playing on their phone? Are they rolling their eyes at what I'm saying? Because, like, if I'm talking to you, right, if I'm giving a presentation to a customer and I see them face to face or even on video, I can see, like, okay, your eyes are glazing over. Let me move on to the next topic, or you're really interested, or like, and then I can expand more. So I like to be able to tailor my presentation based on people's body language, and you can't necessarily do that on the phone. So yeah, I do enjoy engaging with people face to face, and I am ready to start attending conferences again when it's safe to do so, and start engaging with people face to face. I'm over this.
I understand that's good that you're going in often into the office. I'm curious though, with the rest of the team there in your Lorton office, would you say half are choosing to sort of telework or stay home, or what's the percentage you see actually coming into the office or working remotely?
Good question. Most are on telework.
Okay.
Most are choosing to telework. Yeah.
So you're probably alone in the entire office then, basically.
I'm close to being alone. Yes, I'm close to being alone. And like I said, I mean, it's just nice for me to kind of get my mind right, especially with all the RFP. And honestly, like half the time, I just bunch up all my printouts and I go, and I have a printer at home, but a government solicitation is usually 200 pages or more. So we had a couple that dropped recently. So I said, okay, time for me to get everything printed out. And I'm the type I need to print. I like, I need to print stuff out sometimes.
I understand.
I understand it. Yeah.
You've had such a rich career, Sonia, thus far, and you still have a long ways to go. I'm curious, what is it you're most proud of thus far in your career?
Oh gosh. Well, I'm proud of the people that I've worked with. I have some people that I've worked with at Chanega that have gone on to perform in their career. They've been promoted. They're on the management team now. That makes me the most proud. I should tell you that I should be proud of the sales and the revenue, and I am proud of it, but I'm most proud of the people that I've worked with and that I've trained, that have gone on, and they don't, some of them don't work for me anymore. They work in other different departments in Chanega. And so whenever I see their managers, I'm like, just remember, I trained them, I was the one that trained them and whatnot. And so that makes me feel good that even if they're not working for me, if they're working in different departments in Chanega, that their managers are really happy with them and they're growing in their careers. So
That's great. I'm happy to hear that. What's your biggest challenge right now with your role in Chanega today?
Oh gosh, bandwidth. I mean, again, it's nothing to complain about. I always remind myself, I'm like, we're blessed, and sometimes it, I don't know what it is. Our RFPs always drop all at the same time. I have 4 going on right now, but again, I can't complain. It's what we want. It's what we, I'm incredibly flattered and happy that the government wants to engage with us. I just sometimes wish it wasn't all at the same time. but we moved to the customer's tempo. So yeah, bandwidth. I was actually talking this morning with my boss about it because I don't want to take on too many direct reports right now because I have a couple and I want to be able to spend time training them and spend time coaching and mentoring them. So I wish I could give more of myself to that. And then our customers too, right? Like I have to work, I'm working, not have to, but I want to engage with our customers. I always tell our customers, always pick up the phone and engage with me. So if I could clone myself 3 or 4 times, that would be great.
There's only one of you though.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you know now that you wish you would have known at the start of your business career?
Yeah, good question. So I wish that I had been more assertive. So that's not something that women are naturally socialized to do. Um, so that's okay in your personal life. It's okay to be uh, you don't have to be necessarily assertive in your personal life and when you're with your family. So I have a different personality when it comes to my family life. I don't want to be in charge when it comes to my family life, honestly. But in the workplace, you have to be more assertive. So that was not something that came naturally to me. It took me a long time to get to the point that I am. But people who know me now would never believe that I was never assertive at all. I was I'm shy, I'm an introvert, and I'm a total wallflower. That's how I was even when I graduated from college. So
I would have never thought that.
yeah, it's a learned behavior. So we'll talk, and I'll talk with people, and then I'll go somewhere after work for I'll go upstairs and watch Netflix for 2 hours. Give the hairy eyeball to anybody who wants to talk to me. I definitely need that quiet time and thinking time to recharge. Yes. So I think that's called like an ambivert or something. So
I agree. I think I'm sort of similar that when you need to extrovert, you need to go. It's like the light switch. Okay, it's on and it's on. It's like the show. Let's go. And if not, then I can just be at home and just relaxing and just leave me alone and just quietness. You don't need that constant, especially if you're doing a lot of communication and talking throughout the day, which I do. And I don't know. It sounds like you do as well.
Yeah. I don't necessarily, like, I think extroverts get energized over conversation. I do what I have to do to engage with the customer, and truly, like I said, government sales is not like commercial sales, so you don't have to be as assertive. But yeah, after I spend a lot of time, I like to keep my weekends free. I mean, I love to just kind of be in my little bubble with my family. So I I might say that's a little bit of a silver lining of COVID, like a little bit. I don't. I like to just spend quiet time with my very immediate family, my kids, and everything like that. I don't need to be like out and about socializing with people on the weekend.
I'm glad you mentioned being assertive for women. I was just having a conversation about this with my wife, also CPA, and she works for a tech company here locally. And I think she just finished reading Lean In, or
Yeah.
yeah. And we were in, and she sees it most of the time in the executive level, very, very few women. And firsthand experience, she's telling me this, and I'm seeing it too as well. And about women sort of, a lot of it she sees lacking that assertiveness. And we were just having that conversation. What do you think that comes from, as far as women and feeling that way?
We're not socialized. We're not socialized from, to talk too much. We're socialized to, nod and smile, not make waves, not make anybody angry. And I think, we're socialized to not be aggressive, and it's nature nurture.
Mm-hmm.
But that brings up a good point too. We also, it's good for us to change ourselves, but it's also important to have male sponsorship in the workplace to enable us, to give us the freedom to be assertive. And so I'm super blessed because I have that with my boss. He always makes sure that I get enough airtime to speak. He makes sure that nobody interrupts me. when I'm speaking. In fact, he encourages me. He's like, you need to speak up more in meetings. And then we meet on a regular basis, because sometimes I'm not always comfortable sharing my ideas in front of a large group, honestly. And he knows that. And he knows that sometimes I may be much more comfortable just sitting one-on-one with him talking and giving ideas like about the business just in general. And so that understanding and being sensitive to that and making sure that there's space for me, because I am the first woman president that he's appointed within the strategic business unit since its inception. So he makes sure, I mean, it's not enough to just appoint people, you have to support them too. So he does a really good job of being very, very sensitive and cognizant of that. And so we need more male sponsorship and allies in the workplace.
It's so true, Sonia, about the sponsorship. I just remember I'm having this conversation, and my wife was telling me how she was at a public CPA firm for a while, and we have small children, and immediately I forgot after, I don't know, we have three young boys. I don't know if it was after the second one or which one. One of them partners there, a female woman, sort of almost saying, okay, now you're sort of going to have less hours. It wasn't coming from the mommy track, just putting her sort of almost benching her. And it wasn't coming from her. And now she's at a tech company dealing with C-level executives, mostly males, very few females. Not once. They're all sort of pushing her up, and she loves it because now you're raising yourself at a different level. And
Chanega has never, I got to really hand it to him. I mean, they have never put me ever one time, not one time, on the mommy track. However, my boss has always given me the flexibility that I do need as a mom. So he acknowledges that I'm, facing different challenges than my peers. Because, frankly, most of my peers are older, and so they have adult children. So he lets me feel comfortable talking about my kids and things like that. He encourages it because it's a family environment. So I feel like I don't have to hide that I have kids. So he acknowledges it and he supports me in that way. But never ever one time has assumed that there's any limitations within the career, or that it's somehow different for me because I'm a mother. So that's one thing that has been marked. And you're right, there's certain, maybe that's a corporate culture thing. Because it sounds like at that tech firm that your wife is working at, it's never even come up. It's never even occurred to them to think that,
Yeah,
so that's great.
Yeah, it's very much the culture. You were just mentioning sponsor, and it just made me think, is there any big mentors that comes to mind as far as how they influenced you in your career, and what have you learned from them?
Yeah, I mean, again, my boss is my mentor. So my boss is the president of the strategic business unit. His name is John Campagna. And honestly, I mean, I know they always say your boss, shouldn't be your mentor. You should have a different mentor. It's not good. But it's worked out really well for me, because a lot of the stuff that we talk about in our business, or that the business challenges that I'm dealing with, they're confidential. They're company confidential. It's not something that I can share in a business roundtable. And they're very unique. I mean, a lot of the issues that I'm dealing with are not generic. They're very unique to being a tribal corporation, unique to being an 8A corporation in the business. And so he's been with Chanega for 20 years. He's seen so much. And so I do come to him a lot, and I say, look, I need counsel. This is the issue that I'm facing, or this is the question that I have. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? So it's always great to get his perspective, and I don't have to worry about lack of confidentiality. And then the other people that I rely on is, I will call some of my peers who are Chanega presidents within the strategic business unit that may be further along in the 8A program or have graduated, and ask them questions, and they give me really good advice. So I'm kind of limited on my business challenges on how much I can speak about those. So yeah, that's who kind of has influenced me. And then from a family perspective, my mom and my brother have definitely significantly influenced me. And I also talk to them about business challenges, and they give advice that's like, kind of outsider advice. So that's kind of fresh for me too.
That's great. I love how you started 7 years ago there at your level and where you are now as president. Any maybe key advice you can give to someone in a company where there's obviously that room for growth? What has helped you in your career that you can give to them?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to, if you see that you've got bandwidth, like that's how I was. I had bandwidth and I just said, hey, I can see you guys are really busy. Is there anything I can help out with? And so this is going to be a loaded topic, but negotiation. I know I'm going to get crucified for this, but I know how important it is for women to negotiate. I know how important it is for everyone to negotiate. I get it. But I also but I also believe in negotiating when I have leverage, right? So I think it's important to get in, and I want to be really careful how I say this, get in, do the work, learn, focus on that skill set, focus on the mission. And I don't want to sit here and tell everybody, well, sit back and wait, the money will come. I don't agree with that. You do need to negotiate, but then I think that kind of puts you in a good position to then, talk to the people who make those decisions and say, look, I've done this, I've done that, kind of gone over and above in my role. What do you think about X, Y, and Z? And then we have a conversation about it. So yeah, it is important to advocate for yourself. It's very important to negotiate, but I do think it's also, there's got to be a balance, right? There's got to be a balance between supporting the mission and learning, and of course, absolutely, everyone should always negotiate.
Yeah. Coming to a close here now, what does the future hold? What does the next 5 year looks for you in Chanega?
Yeah, well, so we are, like I said, in year 2 of the 8A program. We are continuing to grow the company, to grow my team. I hope that, I always tell my deputy, I'm like, you're going to be running this company someday, and she's like, no, I don't want your job. But yeah, no, I want to see growth in my people. I anticipate to see growth within the company, and I want to kind of increase our customer set, our core capabilities. I want to continue to learn, and just kind of reach out and touch people as much as I can. I mean, post COVID.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm super excited for the future of our company and of Chenega Mayos. Our company, like I said, it's not just our company, but Chenega Mayos is growing very, very rapidly. So I'm definitely excited about the next 5 years for sure.
When you're not busy working, Sonia, what do you like to do for fun in your free time?
Yeah. So we like to, do the Netflix binging, right?
What are you
So,
binging on now?
Queen's Gambit.
Okay.
And I'm
Oh,
late,
that's
I'm
great.
delayed, because that came out in, whatever, months ago. So
That's a
whenever people
great
are like,
show. I
what are you
finished
binging
it.
on? I'm
Yeah.
like always 6 months behind on everything. But oh my God, Queen's Gambit. And I love fashion too. And that is just like, I don't know if your wife likes fashion. I think she probably does, but that is like the dream come true. Like her clothing is a dream come true for anybody that loves fashion. So and it's just great. And it's great to see her, defeating everybody and kind of going into a male-oriented environment with chess and stuff like that. So love Queen's Gambit. I'm waiting for the next season of Narcos Mexico. I love that show too. What else? We're rewatching Breaking Bad.
Okay.
So yeah, all of those, all of the above.
That's great. Those are all good shows. Okay. If people want to connect with you, learn more about you at Chanega, where can they reach out? Where can they find out more information?
Absolutely. So they can email me. My email address is sonia.mundra@chanega.com. They can connect with me on LinkedIn. Just drop me a note and let me know, hey, I saw you on, this podcast or whatever. So that'll help us connect. There's links to our website. It's www.chenegaabs.com. And I am unusual because I give out my cell phone number. So it's 202-527-2511. I was talking with some guys and they were like, this is insane that you give your cell phone number. It's plastered all over the internet. So there are lots of ways to get in touch with me.
I hope you don't get a lot of spam calls, and actually it's something interesting.
Weirdly, I don't.
Okay, that's good.
I weirdly don't. I think people are probably just assuming that cell phone number goes to like an administrative assistant or something like that, like some sort of gatekeeper. It's actually ridiculously foolhardy that my phone number is plastered literally everywhere. But yeah, no, weirdly enough, I don't. I think, so far everybody's been super respectful. So yeah, until that. And so I'll be able to keep it up until that doesn't happen. So right now we're good to go. 7 years going, we're good to go. So.
Great. Sonia, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.